and welcome to the Post About Ghosts podcast. I'm your co-host Chellemo, and with me as always, I have Aidy. Hi, Aidy.
Hello.
What are we doing today?
Well, we're going to talk about the 27 Club, which is a name given to a phenomenon with roots all the way back to the 1800s, when Brazilian musician Alexandre Levy, at the age of 27, and many consider him to be the first member of the club.
First member. Well, congrats to that. I'm sure that is a contest he did not want to win.
Probably not. No. No. After Levy in 1938, another musician, Robert Johnson, who had quite the story before being added to the 27 Club, he died at 27 as well. And this phenomenon really caught fire in the 1960s when four prominent musicians all died at the age of 27. Those were Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison.
Yeah, I believe it was those four within 2 years that actually kicked off this whole phenomenon in people's minds. So we're like, wow, 2 years, four people.
Yeah, because like before that, I mean, wasn't exactly a thing, you could say. But when you've got like four people at the peak of their powers, and at 27 die in a comparatively short period of time, then that's going to flag it up as well.
Yeah.
And much later on, following them in 1994, obviously Kurt Cobain joined the 27 Club, and then later on in 2011, Amy Winehouse. She was 27 as well. There are many other members as well, and now the club has expanded past musicians to also include famous people from many different professions, like Jean-Michel Basquiat, an American street artist, amongst others.
Yes. When I was researching this, I watched a video, and there were so many others. I'm going to link to that video, The Graves of the 27 Club, on YouTube. It's where I got my information. There's just way too many to put them all in here.
Yeah.
But I found an article on theconversation.com called The 27 Club Isn't True, but It Is Real, where a sociologist, Zachary Donovan, tries to give reasoning for why 27 sticks in our minds, even though the statistics say it's not true. Mr. Donovan claims that out of 344,156 notable deaths analyzed, there is no higher risk of dying at 27. But if someone does, their death is getting more attention. And he wrote this article to kind of give his thoughts on three things that he thinks are at work here. He mentions path dependence, which is, like we were talking about, that initial cluster of deaths all together triggers the thought that anytime this happens in the future, then it's a part of that thing. You know, even if over time it becomes more and more uncommon, that number 27 will still trip it in the memory of people who remember the original four passing away together.
Yeah.
He also mentioned something that I'm going to slaughter the name of, but he called it stigmergy. 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 And in the digital age of Wikipedia, we have a collective memory repository. We have them all over the internet.
Yeah.
With information, it's like a memory that we can't forget. It's always there. There's dedicated pages with links to the musicians' pages on the 27 Club wiki page. The more we click, the more prominent those musicians become. The more prominent they become, the more the myth is reinforced, and it's kind of a feedback loop. So you got that going on. And then something that he calls mimetic reification. This is a sociological concept that says if you define a situation as real, then it has real world consequences. So the myth exists that more people die at 27. And then when anyone dies at 27, they say, yeah, it must be true because there's another one.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's kind of where we are, and we have a list of some of the top 27 club members that we're going to go over. Why don't you kick us off, Aidy?
Okay, yeah. So, first we have here is Alexandre Levy. I hope I've said the first name right.
I think if you're Spanish, you might say Alejandro.
Alejandro Levy, yeah.
Yeah, that would be, I think, what they would say.
Yeah, well, he says here, not the first to die at 27, but the first famous musician of notable international fame to die at this age.
Yes.
He was a Brazilian composer and piano player with exceptional talent. On January the 17th, 1892, he told people he wasn't feeling well and died shortly thereafter. His cause of death was a cerebral congestion and cardiac arrest. Cerebral congestion was a diagnosis they gave in the past that covered a whole lot of things like cerebral hemorrhage, depression, manic outbursts, headaches, coma, and seizures. This diagnosis has pretty much faded into history as they now have a better understanding of the various neurological disorders. There is also a prestigious music award with his name that is still granted in Brazil today.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to the latest winner of that. And congratulations to Mr. Leve for being the first one. What would you call him? The founding member
Yes.
of the 27 Club? I'll go with that.
Yeah.
And then the next one on our list, his name is Louis Chauvin. And he is a legendary ragtime musician who was known as the king of the ragtime players. There are actually, and I find this really sad, there are no recordings of him playing left, but he is remembered as being exceptionally talented.
Yeah.
I think it's sad that we don't have any of his music. Such a shame that when things like that get lost.
Don't we take it for granted, though, these days that things just stay around forever?
Yeah, I think we're spoiled in that way.
Yeah.
We don't know how precious material things are. They've taken such a lesser meaning in our society today.
Yeah.
You know, something that specific, I picked this guy for our list just because Louis Chauvin is portrayed in an old Billy D. Williams film about the days of ragtime called Scott Joplin. Scott Joplin was Billy D's character. And Louis Chauvin was in that movie alongside him, portrayed by an actor named Clifton Davis. And if you know anything about the brand new soap opera on CBS called Beyond the Gates that I'm watching, as I know you don't, Clifton Davis is now playing the show's patriarch, Vernon Dupree.
Right.
So I wanted to give a shout out to Louis Chauvin, a shout out to Clifton Davis, and a shout out to Vernon Dupree, who better not be cheating on Anita right now. I'm going to be so disappointed in you, Vernon, if that's the case.
And can I also give a shout out to Billy D. Williams for brilliantly playing Lando Calrissian and blowing up the Death Star in Return of the Jedi. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's yeah. What can you say about that?
Yeah.
I mean, who else has done that?
Well, Luke did in the first movie, but I mean, he did it in the Millennium Falcon, and yeah. And he also, by the way, in Return of the Jedi, saves the attack on the Death Star by getting the rebels to engage head to head with the Star Destroyers of the Imperial fleet, so the Death Star couldn't blow up the entire Rebel Alliance fleet without hitting their own ships. There you go. So he was a tactical genius as well.
If anything deserves a shout out, it's that right there.
Yeah.
Well, as far as Louis Chauvin goes, he actually died in 1908 at 27, and his death his death certificate lists multiple sclerosis and starvation due to a coma.
God.
And I just have to say, did they not feed people in a coma back then?
I don't know. I mean, how? I don't know when they would have come up with the ability to intravenously feed people. I mean, was that a thing they could do back then? I don't know.
I don't know, but it was something that I was up till very late last night wondering about. So,
Yeah, that's a difficult one, that one.
yeah, how terrible.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it was probably the starvation that got him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So, next on our list, Robert Johnson. And this guy, he has a very unique and strange story without dying at 27.
Yeah, you could say.
Yeah, he is said to have sold his soul to the devil at the local crossroads to become famous as a musician because his talent came out of nowhere. Just one day he can't play, the next day he's the greatest player anybody has ever heard, is the way I understand it.
Yeah.
So if there's anything real or evil at all to this 27 Club thing, it would make sense that Mr. Johnson would be one of the members simply for the devil factor. So if there's nefarious things going on, I'm going to say he's in on it. He was considered the king of the Mississippi Delta blues. And like I said, he had a skill that came out of nowhere. Later on, he would actually be referred to by many as the grandfather of rock and roll when artists like Chuck Berry claimed him as an influence.
Right.
Two of the songs that he recorded were Me and the Devil Blues and the Crossroads Blues. Starting to see how the story is coming together there.
Yeah.
His musical impact was never known in his own lifetime. He only became widely famous in 1961 when some of his music was posthumously released. It took them a long time to find out exactly where he is actually buried. It's been a mystery for a long time. The Grim Life Collective that we watch, Aidy, they did a show on his various grave sites and gave their guesses on which one it is. I'll link to that video for anybody that wants to watch that as well, so you can see if they were right in their guess. But there's an article on Atlas Obscura, which I'll also link to in the show notes, that claims they have proof of which one is real. They say that his final resting place is the one that's in Little Zion Church Cemetery in Greenwood, Mississippi. Lady came forward and had some information that pretty much solidified that she knew what she was talking about. She knew things. But Robert Johnson died August 16th in 1938, and there's actually no official cause of death listed.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting that here's this guy that's got exceptional talent, becomes great influence in the future. Nobody really knows what happened to him at all. They don't know what happened to him or where he even went. So I just find the whole thing very strange. Could be some devil stuff going on there. I'm not going to say no. That's pretty much his story. What you got for me?
Well, one I've got here is Brian Jones. He was a founding member of the Rolling Stones. He named the band. He played a lot of different instruments, and he played the sitar in the song Paint It Black.
Yes, I love that bit. Wow, 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 wow.
Well, there you go.
I'm cutting that right out.
No, you're not. And apparently he was unhappy with the direction the band was going in, and he left the band in 1969. Within the same month of leaving, he was found dead at the bottom of a swimming pool and was pronounced dead from drowning on July the 3rd, 1969. It also said that he's buried between 10 and 12 feet deep. to keep people from digging him up and stealing from his grave.
That is just disgusting. People, what are you doing? Stop doing that.
Yeah.
We've got another rock star from the 60s.
We do.
Jimi Hendrix, one of the most influential electric guitar players to ever live.
Yeah.
One of his most famous songs is Purple Haze. I love Purple Haze.
Yeah, me too.
And he recorded this one with his UK band, the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Yeah.
Now think about Jimi Hendrix. Jimmy was left-handed.
Yeah.
And I heard that he got his start playing the guitar on a right-handed guitar that he flipped over and strung up backwards. And every time I think about that, I think of this time when my daughter was about 5 years old. And you know how kids, they say crazy things.
Yeah.
Well, we're sitting out on the porch one day, and the one thing I remember about it was a lovely day, blue sky, a big puffy white clouds. It was a great day. So anyway, I digress. We're sitting outside on the porch, and she looks at me, and out of nowhere, she says, "Hey, Mom, did you know in 1969, when I was a boy, I picked up my guitar and played it in front of a whole bunch of people?" And that was it. Nothing else. Went right back to playing with her dolls. And I'm just looking at her and I'm thinking, she's left-handed. She's left-handed. 1969. So I look at her and I said, "Jimmy, is that you? Are you the reincarnation of the great Jimi Hendrix?"
Oh,
Wouldn't that be
yeah.
fantastic? But anyway, it never came up again, and she's not in a band.
No.
So there you go.
Well, of course, one of his most famous performances is him playing the national anthem at Woodstock in 1969 in front of a whole bunch of people, which, just makes that a little bit strange, what Jasmine said there, doesn't it?
Yeah, something about one of his performances that I heard was that he was supposedly upset because they had moved his position in the lineup. He was supposed to close a show. And forgive me, I don't know what show it was. This is a story that my dad told me. But he was upset about the lineup shift. He wanted to close. He wanted to be the big kahuna or whatever you say. So when they moved him, he went out on stage, played the music, lit the guitar on fire, played it on fire, pissed on it to put it out, and then walked backstage and said, "Follow that."
Well, yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I can actually see that happening.
Yeah.
On September 18th, 1970, he was in London with his girlfriend, and she was actually the one who found him dead of asphyxia while intoxicated.
Right.
Yeah, I believe he had vomited and choked.
Yeah. It's
Terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Well, next on the list, we have my personal favorite member of the 27 Club, Janis Joplin. Love her, love her, love her.
Yeah.
I sing her music at karaoke all the time. Well, I don't anymore. I've retired from karaoke, but used to sing Me and Bobby McGee every week. And she died just a few weeks after Hendrix. Janis Joplin was found dead. She had started to rise to stardom after the Monterey Pop Festival with her band Big Brother and the Holding Company. She had songs like Me and Bobby McGee and Piece of My Heart, things like that. But she was an on-again, off-again heroin addict, was trying to kick it, and ended up, unfortunately, dying of an overdose on October 4th, 1970. Her body was found by her manager on the floor of the Landmark Motor Hotel, which is now the Highland Gardens Hotel in Los Angeles. And reports say that other people that had gotten the drug from the same dealer that weekend were known to be going around telling people that it was much more potent than what she had been getting from the guy. So they've ultimately ruled her death as an accident.
Yeah,
Such a shame.
it is. And next up, I have got Jim Morrison.
Jim.
Lead singer of The Doors, founded in Venice, California in 1965. I mean, they're known for a lot of songs. Some of them,
They are.
Light My Fire, Riders on the Storm, Break On Through to the Other Side.
It's hard to pick your favorite.
It is. My own personal favourite is The End. I love that song.
Yeah, I like Riders on the Storm, but
Yeah.
there's so many.
There is just so many great songs. He was found on July the 3rd, 1970, in his bathroom of his home in Paris, where he'd been living with his girlfriend Pamela. His official cause of death is listed as heart failure, but there was no autopsy performed. So his death keeps conspiracy theorists going and wondering what might have really happened to him.
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
Yeah, it was with this that the idea of the 27 Club started to gain attention.
It was. And it's funny, you mentioned his girlfriend Pam.
Yeah.
Pamela Corson was also later to be a member of the 27 Club. 3 years later, she was found dead of a heroin overdose in her Hollywood apartment.
Yeah.
The sad thing about her is she wanted, and I believe he wanted, for the two of them to be buried together
Yeah.
in Paris, and the original plan was to move her over there, but they had so much trouble with red tape in the transfer process going to another country that she has a tomb at Fairhaven Memorial Park in Orange County, California. So it's so sad. I wish there was a way to get her over there, but
yeah. And next on the list, we have somebody who was the lead singer in one of my favourite bands of all time, and that's Kurt Cobain. He was the lead singer for Nirvana, and of course they did songs like Come As You Are, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Lithium, absolutely loads. But to me, it's like all of their stuff I loved, so yeah.
Yeah. That was the death that I remember in my life. I was either not here yet or a little kid when the others passed away, but I remember Kurt Cobain
Yeah, me too.
passing away. So tragic.
He suffered for a long time with depression and, like others on this list as well, drug abuse.
Yeah.
His body was found on April 8th, 1994, after he committed suicide. However, the authorities believe he'd been there for days and that he'd actually died around April the 5th. I actually remember where I was when I heard that on the radio, and that was on would have been April the 9th. I was listening to the radio. I'd taken my mum to the doctors, and I was sat in the car park with the radio on and heard that, and I was absolutely devastated. I mean, it was just not something you can say like afterwards, like, oh yeah, he was always likely to be a candidate, but it was still a shock at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah, two years later, they released a live album from the muddy banks of the Wishkar, which is a river where some of Cobain's ashes have been scattered. Another little interesting story. In 97, I was in Seattle and went to Sub Pop Records and actually bought the vinyl of that and brought it back to the UK. That was an interesting thing, trying to pack a suitcase carefully enough for the baggage handlers not to break a collection of vinyl, because that wasn't the only one I had. And I got all of that home in perfect condition.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. I tell you what, I went to Sub Pop Records and it was this tiny little record store in Seattle. It's great. It was like so like typical. When people say, oh, it wasn't what I expected, it was what I expected. I didn't expect something really big.
Yeah.
It was exactly what I expected. It was this small record store and it was great. I loved it. They say bought quite a bit of stuff from there, and they had pictures of all of the bands that were signed up to them at the time. And of course, Nirvana was part of that whole Sub Pop thing.
Yeah.
They had pictures up in there as well, so it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, and just to finish on that, he was later posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame along with Nirvana, the rest of the band, Chris Novoselic and Dave Grohl. Of course, Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters now, but
Yes.
yeah.
You know, the thing about Kurt Cobain, and the same with Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, I think what bothers me the most about him is that they didn't find him right away. He was alone and he was there for days
Yeah.
before anyone knew. And I find that so tragically sad that it's such a shame that he was so big and so superhuman to so many people.
Yeah.
And in the end of his life, he was alone and no one knew for days.
That's
It's just tragic.
Yeah, it's funny you say that with Lane Staley, because I mean I love Alice in Chains, still do like the new stuff they do, and that hit quite hard as well because of the nature of it. When you find out and you just think that's awful, you know, to just imagine what that must have been like, and they were adored by millions of people, like you say, and yet ultimately they're alone. And that is the tragedy with it.
It is. People, check on your people.
Yeah.
Please, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
Check on your people. Make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, another one connected to Kurt Cobain, Kristen Pfaff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was the bass player for Hole. She's a 27 Club member. Hole was Cobain's wife, Courtney Love's band, where she was front man. And Pfaff performed on their album Live Through This, and then was found dead 2 months after its release to acute opioid intoxication.
Yeah.
There's your drugs again.
Yeah.
So if this story tells you anything, it tells you that if you get sucked into the heroin lifestyle, you've got about 27 years to run with it.
Yeah.
I think if it says anything, it says that anyway. It's not a long life. It's not a happy life.
Yeah.
Get help. If you have an addiction problem, please get help.
Yeah. And the last one we have on the list is Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
She was a brilliant singer, jazz, soul, R&B. Her album, Back to Black, is one of the best-selling albums in UK history. She won 5 Grammys the year after its release.
Wow.
One of her most famous songs was Rehab, and she, like many others in the 27 Club, suffered with addiction for a long time. And she tragically died of alcohol poisoning on July the 23rd, 2011. I remember that as well. Remember that being on the news. And she was cremated. Her ashes are buried with her grandmother in Edgware Cemetery outside of London. So, yeah.
Very prestigious list.
Very.
One that I would not ever want to be on, though.
No. Well, no.
A lot of great talent.
Yeah, a lot of great talent. And, you know, it's kind of interesting because there are people... It was interesting about the sort of age. And when doing this, I was checking up on the age of some others that died young to see if they were in the club as well, but not mentioned. I mean, one was Cliff Burton of Metallica, if you remember, was talking about he was tragically killed in a coach crash. That was horrific, but he wasn't 27. But you know, kind of close to that age as well.
There's so many. Reba McEntire had a band member. His last name is escaping me right now, and I'm so sorry about that. I know his first name was Chris, but she actually dedicated an album to him when he passed away at 27. There's just so many, too many
Yeah.
to cover in one podcast. We might revisit this later, give some more names.
Yeah.
But that's what I had on the list for today. You got anything you want to add to?
No, I mean it is just it is a strange phenomenon, but I think there is a common thread of with it of substance abuse being a contributing factor, whether directly or indirectly, in a lot of these things. And I think as well why it sticks out is because these people are so young and so talented.
Yeah.
They affect the lives of a lot of people. They entertain a lot of people, and it's that's to me is why it sticks out.
Yeah. In the 60s and early 70s, I'll just say they were a magical time in music.
Yeah,
Some of the greatest names in music came from that era, and to have so many of them die tragically young,
yeah,
it would make you have certain thoughts, like the 27 Club,
yeah.
just because so many of them were that age. And there's others that were not quite 27, but right around that age,
That
dying as
yeah,
well.
that's it. It's like saying about Cliff Burton, and then others, others too. Especially like like in that grunge era, there were a number of others as well that died in and around that time, and then subsequently as well, like in recent years, losing Chris Cornell, of course, of Soundgarden.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he wasn't a 27 Club member. He was considerably older, but it just goes to show, that there is that kind of lifestyle can take a toll, and
Yeah.
I think as well for some of these people, these musicians and what have you, they there is a lot of themselves that's revealed through the music, and it is often they are in some sort of mental anguish with a lot of the stuff they do, and it does take a toll, most definitely. But yeah, so it was a thing. There was many things I actually learned while we were going through this, doing this as well. But just overall, it's the absolute tragedy of just people who were so talented and was so good, and you would always hope that they have many years to entertain people, because in some ways, as great as they are, they'd only really got started. I mean, the thing like with Nirvana,
Yeah.
they'd only done 3 studio albums. Their best was yet to come.
The fact that these people, you listen to them on the radio and they sound so powerful and
Yeah,
so larger than life, and then you look at them as a person and they were kids.
yeah, yeah,
I call them kids now. In my 50s, I can call 27 a child.
yeah,
And it's just sad. It's so sad.
yeah, definitely. And in with you hear as well some of the unreleased stuff that can be put out sometimes. That they'd been working on. Going back to Nirvana, they released material that they'd been working on, and it was great. That was what was going to be coming next, and it's that
Yeah.
it's that unrealized potential as well. I think adds to the tragedy of it,
It definitely does. Yeah.
because they clearly had a hell of a lot more stuff to put out there,
Yeah.
and would most cases more than likely have got even better than where they were at. And do you ever think sometimes like this, that the part of the toll is like living up to expectation? Because if you think about it, Nirvana had I can speak personally for that because I lived through that and was a
Yeah.
fan of theirs. And I always wonder, is there a burden of expectation that can destroy people? And you've had so much praise and so much success that you've got this huge amount of pressure to keep delivering. And not only that, but to keep getting better. And you do wonder whether that really does weigh very, very heavily on people, like, well, what if I make the next album and people hate it?
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah. Because I know sometimes, like, they often joke, oh, we're going to do something completely different for the next album. I think, like, in one interview, if I'm remembering rightly, I mean, I hope I am, I think Kurt said he was going to do a country and western. He would do things like, like album, do things like that, And you wonder whether in the joke of it, it's literally to try to desperately get people to lower expectations a bit, because like, you're following on this success, and they almost have this thing where they're built up in and they can't do any wrong. Like, everything that they release is praised to the rafters. And then we all know what it's like out there. People then are sharpening the knives. They're waiting for the fall. They're waiting for them to not, to put something out there. And so everyone can then, like, stick the knife in and go, oh, they're not any good anymore. Are they past it, and all this, that, and the other. And you're talking about people who are, like, in their 20s. There is that thing with celebrity that we do tend to build celebrities up only to then destroy them. And they will have been aware of that. And you do wonder whether, what goes through the mind of somebody in that position, where there is not only the burden of expectation, but the expectation of being torn down at some point. There hasn't been an artist in history, there hasn't been a band or a musician or an actor or whoever who hasn't had that thing where the people start to turn on them for a period of time. It's almost like you build them up, you tear them down, and then it's the hope or the expectation is, well, then build them back up again. But there's a human being behind all of that, that has to live through it. These are not statues, or whatever.
Yeah, and from the outside looking in, as far as their fans go, a lot of them, they see this rich and famous, super cool person and think, how could they have any problems? They're rich and they're famous and they've got everything. And that tends to make a person think that they don't have any problems, when that's just simply not true. They're just different.
It's a different kind of problem.
Mental health hits everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And I read many interviews that Kurt Cobain did about where he would talk about that. He spoke about being worried about his daughter growing up, and people, making reference to the fact that he'd used drugs, for example. These things, they bothered him. I remember reading an interview in a music magazine whereby he articulated that. And we do tend to forget that they are just people. At the end of the day, we build them up into this
young
thing.
People.
And young people. And most of us can get away with doing silly, stupid, and daft things when we're young, and nobody raises an eyebrow. But if you're in that position, you've got to always be saying the right thing. You've always got to be presenting yourself in a way that is agreeable to everybody, and that's not always possible. And that in itself does present itself as a lot of pressure for people to live up to, and live
I'm
under.
sure it does, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to call this one.
All right.
Also, something else that I'm going to spring on you right now.
Oh.
So, next Wednesday and the Wednesday after our Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. I think this is a good place to end season 1, Urban Legends.
Yes.
We're going to take a couple weeks off to enjoy the holidays.
Yeah.
I hope everyone else does as well.
Yeah, me too.
And then we'll be seeing you guys again on, let me just see, it's going to be, we'll be releasing again on January the 7th.
Awesome.
Kicking off season 2, and we're going to go and have a Merry Christmas and decide how season 2 is going to roll out. So
Yeah.
I'm about to surprise us all.
Yeah. Not even I know what season 2 is going to be
Yeah,
about.
yeah. I'm springing it on everybody, even myself. So yeah, we'll come back January 7th with an all new show.
We will.
And until then, however you celebrate the holidays, if you celebrate them, I hope yours are lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Have a good time.
we'll see you in January.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.